here, we're going to pull over. We're going to talk about the Muheim Museum, the Muheim House. Mr. Muheim, who lives right up here where that flag is, was one of the founding members of this community, donated a lot of money and helped build the breweries and the, working with Bill Plackett, I believe his name was. And you'll see right up here where some of the house has fallen in, they put a concrete edge right there. Somebody had their mine going directly underneath it. It fell in, took the whole side of the yard and built down. They jacked it up a little bit and put some concrete up on it to hold it. And we're housing the Mimosa Market. This is one of our few markets in town that still is operating today. It's a mom and pop organization. There's also a butcher shop in there, and where the locals usually get their food. It's a little expensive, but it's all naturally grown. Now, look in front of us. This is the Rose Johnson house. Rose Johnson was a very famous artist from this area. She has several of her murals are still in town. I got to meet her. She passed away just recently. This is for sale, and you can still see that they still have her studio in back where she worked.
There goes that ghost car again.
Yeah.
No one drives it. It just floats up and down.
Okay, you can go forward. I'm sorry.
Nice car.
It is. There are several of them here. They have their own car club. And what we're going into now is the red light district. All the brothels, as I said, this was the good part of the side of the hill. This was the bad. Starting from here, there was over 1,500 ladies of the evening working here. We'll go to some of the cribs. As you can see, the stairs went all the way to the top. There are over 1,000 stairs in this town. They have a 1,000-stair climb once a year. Over right over here. You can see the cribs here down below in these buildings here. Well, this is where the madam had. These were the expensive ladies. The rest of them were living up in these. They would have 3 to 4 women living in that house, side by side. Each one had a wash basin, a bed, and not much else. They had them stacked all the way up here, going all the way to the top of this hill.
Just like this?
Just like this, yes. It is said that the more expensive ones were down below, the cheaper ones were on top. It's just that you had to go, and you can see where the fires were, they had burned down the different places. But they went all the way here and followed this canyon, going all the way to the top of that hill. They worked 3 shifts, day and night. As the shifts, right, as soon as the miners got off, they would come and spend their money drinking alcohol, come up here, and then a lot of it, as I said, they would hydrate it with heat in their hair. Okay, now pulling right up here in front, this right here is City Park. It didn't used to be City Park. It used to be a graveyard. Now they said because of the drainage, and I said water killed a lot of people here, this was the worst place in the world to drink. In fact, right now, you can't drink the water. We don't get the water here in Bisbee. We get it from Mexico. All the water is piped in from Mexico. The water here was so poisoned from the mines and runoff from this that actually they would find body parts in the street. There was human waste, body parts, so we had no sewage. The drainage was terrible. And just to cut yourself on the side could mean the end of your days. You could catch smallpox, cholera, diphtheria. It was just rampant here. Not to mention that that's why we drank a lot of whiskey here and beer, because the water was so deadly. You'll notice that all these streets wind around. They used to have able for a free tour or double stacked bus to go all the way to the top of the hills. And they put some electric lines across, fried a couple of houses, and put it there. Now we're going to go up to what we call, this is the Barker Park. Up until 2 years ago, this was just an abandoned area. Some people took it over, the city donated land. This is where you go if you want to do a mural or write some stuff. This is where you go to protest different things. This is just Barker Park. Also, you'll notice a couple tents up there. We have some people camping. That's Occupy Bisbee. It is. Now again, if you look up here to the second or third floor, all of these homes were almost all 3 or 4 stories. It's easier to build up and build down than it was anything else. At one time, as I said, this was the most wickedest area in here. This one over here is one of the oldest bars in the operating in the United States constantly. It's also, it has the tie for being the oldest bar operating in Arizona. It is also haunted by they said two female ghosts that come up here in the middle of the night when nobody else is around at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and turn on the jukebox and throw things around. And they said they could still hear it tonight. And especially,
I got some traffic, so I'm going to talk about the Bisbee.
Go ahead.
Bisbee Inn over there.
Yep, I will. Let's go ahead. We're going to talk about the Bisbee Inn, which we talked about earlier. You can see it a lot clearer up there. There's said to be a lady of the evening on the first floor. She's blonde. She is haunting that one, and she doesn't want anybody going into the rooms down there. Also upstairs is a good ghost. They said it was Grandma Ghost. She makes sure that you're tucked in at nighttime, and she'll sit there and whistle or hum at nighttime. They said they could still hear it. And she is up on the 3rd floor. There's also a ghost that is said to have saved some young boys' lives. They were going out the back door. There was a bad rainstorm. It was getting flooded. And she stopped them, and there was a landslide, and all of the rocks hit the door. Now you'll notice underneath here, these are really steep steps. That's not a step. Underneath there is another tunnel that goes underneath all of these. At one time, during Prohibition, this was all joined in by tunnels. And you'll see up here, some of these sidewalks will actually light up. You heard that candy was dandy, but liquor is quicker. We had Prohibition in 1900. They still had all these bars. These were candy stores. Underneath were the bars. And they were speakeasies. A lot of people, like Bugsy Siegel and other gangsters, lived here at that time. In fact, Bugsy took the architect from one of these buildings and built his hotel. The Flamingo or the Sands?
Both.
Both of them.
In Las Vegas.
In Las
I like
Vegas.
this haunted hotel on the right here. It's got the above the restaurant.
Right up here is the San Ramon. Right on that window right there is where the first shot came out that told everybody in the town that Arizona in 1912 was a state. And it's also said that this room and this room are both haunted. One is by a ghost who will go up and all they see is shadows of her, and she bumps things in the night and turns things around. The other one is a ghost that will talk to you. There was a young man standing there. He was about 6'5" or 6'6", really tall. And he said that he was in this room here, and he heard somebody talk and look around. He could feel somebody, and then he hears it. "We never get them this tall here. You're the tallest woman we've ever had." He left.
What was the Bisbee olive oil building?
That is real. I'm glad you asked. We actually filmed 2 horror movies in there. At one time, that they believe up on the top floor, which I won't go up in anymore because all I heard, we were filming and all you could hear all night was glass breaking and people screaming and throwing stuff.
Really?
We thought it was a special effects guy, and he said, "No, I'm not up there."
Wow.
But you'll notice that a lot of these areas are so skinny to crawl up and down. A lot of people have fallen. Stabbed, knifed, fist fights, barroom brawls were killed right in this area. Now this up here we're going to talk about, that is the Copper Queen Hotel. It's also famous because...
I'm sorry, but can I fit through there? Because I can loop around and go up that way.
I don't think so, not with those motorcycles there.
Okay.
I saw it, so I was going to say. I know. If you get a chance, do walk through. They have a ghost book sitting in the lobby you're welcome to look at. That is, as I said, one of the most haunted places on several rooms. 211 is where John Wayne lived when he would film movies here. Him and Lee Marvin were kicked out of that bar so many times for fighting and causing problems with the tourists. But there's several hauntings here. A little boy is said to be walking around. He'll come and take your stuff, your jewelry. He'll turn it upside down or place it where you hadn't had it before. It is said that he dragged